Most welcome to Historiespanerna, History Reconnaissance, and the third part of our series, Last Stands of World War II. In these battles, men were fighting against all odds, sometimes making a difference with their sacrifice, or just achieving nothing more than a Brześć. These men were fighting for a cause, for the country, or just caught in the maelstrom of war. This time the scene is Brest Litovsk, now just called Brest in Belarus. It's a city and a fortress that changed hands twice in two fierce World War II battles and turned friend into foe. And please, like, share and subscribe, it means a lot to us. It's June 22nd, 1941, and Operation Barbarossa, the German-led Axis invasion of the Soviet Union, begins. Brest Litovsk was then located in the Belarusian SSR. The Brest garrison consisted of approximately 9,000 Soviet soldiers, including regular soldiers, tank men, border guards and AKVD operatives, and various smaller units. The Red Army soldiers belonged to elements of the 6th and 42nd Rifle Divisions. The Austrian 45th Infantry Division, about 17,000 men, were tasked with taking the fortress during the first day. But before we continue with that battle, we need to go almost 2 years back in time to September 1939 in Poland, and the first battle of Brest Litovsk, that at the time was called Brześć Litewski. Initially, the Polish forces did not plan to defend the old fortress of Brest. The town was located deep behind the Polish lines, and it was seen as a supply depot and organization center, rather than a frontline fort. However, after the battles of Mlawa and Wisna, the German 19th Panzer Corps under General Heinz Guderian broke through the Polish lines. According to the secret protocol of the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact of August 23, 1939, the region of Brest was assigned to the Soviet sphere of influence. However, the Soviets did not begin their invasion of Poland until September 17, 1939, and 16 days after the beginning of the German invasion. And had the rapidly advancing German corps stopped, it would have given the Poles time to regroup and prepare. Already on September 8th, the German Foreign Minister Joachim von Ribbentrop notified the Soviet government that the German forces would have to violate the Soviet sphere. The fortress occupied a strategic position in the Polish lines, and its defense could prevent German forces from crossing Polysia into Lesser Poland and Galicia to the south. The city of Brześć Litewski was defended by a small improvised Polish force under General Plesowski, consisting of 3 infantry battalions, 1 engineering battalion, some artillery, and were assisted by 2 armored trains, designated PP-55 and PP-53. On September 14th, 77 German tanks, part of the 10th Panzer Division, reached the area of Brześć Litewski and attempted to capture the fortress on the run. The probe attack was repelled by Polish infantry, and the 113th Company of Light Tanks, consisting of 12 obsolete Renault FT tanks. All the Polish tanks were destroyed, but the German forces were forced to retreat towards their initial positions. Later that day, the German artillery arrived and started bombardment of both the fortress and the town. Heavy street fighting ensued. At dawn, approximately half of the town was in German hands, the other half being defended by Polish infantry, and the assault of German tanks was stopped by 2 FT tanks, sealing the northern gate of the fortress. By nightfall, it became apparent that the German pressure made the situation very grave. At dawn, General Plesowski ordered part of the Polish forces to retreat from the easternmost fortifications and then regroup to the other side of the river and southwards. The evacuation was completed by early morning, September 17th, when the last unit crossing the bridge blew it up to hinder the Germans. An hour later, elements of the German 76th Infantry Regiment entered the fortress, almost unopposed. The Brest fortress was then handed over to the Soviets in accordance with the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. Now we go to June 22nd, 1941, and the German attack started with a 29-minute bombardment by artillery and Nebelwerfer rocket launchers. The initial artillery fire took the fortress by surprise, inflicting severe material damage and personnel casualties. The first German assault groups crossed the Bug River 4 minutes after the bombardment had started. The surprised Soviet defenders were unable to form a solid front, and instead defended isolated strongpoints, the most important of which was the fortress. Some Soviet troops managed to escape the fortress, but most were trapped inside by the encircling German forces. Despite having the advantage of surprise, the attempt by the Germans to take the fortress with infantry quickly stalled with many losses. About 281 Wehrmacht soldiers died the first day in the fighting for the fortress. By the evening of the 24th of June, some 368 Germans had been killed, and 4,000 to 5,000 Red Army soldiers had been captured. On the 25th and 26th of June 1941, local fighting continued mainly in the citadel. In the evening of the 26th, most of the northern Kobrin fortification except the east fort was captured. Although the Soviet soldiers in the opening hours of the battle were stunned by the surprise attack, outnumbered, short of supplies and cut off from the outside world, many of them held out much longer than the Germans expected. The Germans used artillery, rocket mortars, Nebelwerfer and flamethrowers. The civilians inside the fortress tended the wounded, reloaded the machine gun drums and belts, and took up rifles to help defend the fortress. Children brought ammunition and food supplies from half-destroyed supply depots, scavenged weapons, and watched enemy movements. As the east fort could not be taken by infantry, the Luftwaffe bombed it twice on the 29th, and forced its approximately 360 defenders to surrender. The total German losses in the battle for the Brest fortress were about 429 killed and about 668 wounded. Soviet losses numbered about 6,800 POWs and about 2,000 dead. The magnitude of these losses can be weighed by the fact that the total German losses on the Eastern Front up to 30th of June amounted to 8,800 killed. The fighting at Brest accounted for over 5% of all German fatalities. After 8 days of battles, the Germans had captured the fortress, but the strategic objectives, control over the Panzerrollbahn, the road to Moscow, the important railway line and the bridges over the Bug River were accomplished the very first day of the war.
That's all, folks. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.